Begin today the Gemara on Daf Ayin Gimel, new Perek, the fifth Perek of Masechta Bava Basra, Hamoicher es Hasfina. This Perek will continue discussing the halachas of a person that's selling something, and it's not clear exactly what's included in the sale. And here the Mishnah explains what's included, what's not included. A person that's selling a ship. So what's included in the sale? When he didn't spell out exactly the details. Machar es ha-tayran, he sells the tayran as well, which is the mast, as the Gemara will explain here. Ves ha-nes, and the sail that's hung up on the mast. Ves ha-ugin, which is the anchors. Ves kol ha-manhigin noisa, and all the things that are needed to guide it or direct it, which are the oars, as the Gemara will say. Avaloi machar, what's not included in the sale is lo es ha-avadim, not the servants that come along with the boat, that work on the boat. But lo es ha-martzufin, not the leather sacks that are on the boat for the merchandise that's being transported on the boat, and veloyas antiki, and not the merchandise of the boat itself that are in these sacks. But if the seller says, "I'm selling you the boat with all of its contents," then everything, even the details we said that are not included, will be included in the sale. Rashbamir points out that in the previous Perek, when it spoke about selling a field or selling different things, the Mishnah said that there's the halacha of when you sell, and even according to the Mandama that says that when you sell, many things are not included in the sale of a field, but when it comes to being makdish, over there I say that you're makdish by yofa and everything is included. But here when it comes to the ship, the Mishnah doesn't make this distinction. Over here, it's mashma from the fact that the Mishnah doesn't make such a distinction that hektish has the same halacha like a mecher. And whatever is included by the mecher is included by the hektish, whatever is not included is not included. When it comes to a field, all those things that are inside the field are sort of part of the field. But these things that are inside the boat that are not included, they're not really part of the boat, and therefore even by hektish, it won't be included. So the Gemara explains the details, the taich of the words. I taiched it already, but the Gemara will explain what these things mean. Tayran, what is the tayran? So in Aramaic, it's a iskaria, which is the mast. We see this in the pasuk where it says, "Erez mulavonin lakhu." They take from a cedar tree from Lavonin. Last says tayran alecha, to build this mast on the boat. Nes, what's the nes? Adra. It's the sail. V'cheinu oime sheish berikma memitzrayim, that they took from linen that was woven from Mitzrayim. Hoyim mifraseich. This was what was spread out lias l'chal lenes, to be for you for a sail. Ugin, what is the ugin? Tanir abchia elu uganin shalah. These are these were heavy metal pieces that they throw down when the boat comes to anchor. So that these are the anchors. And this is what you see in the pasuk. Halahein tesaberna. This is by Rus when Rus wanted to follow. So he said to her, or she said to her, "Halahein tesaberna atash yigdalu. Are you going to hope and wait for them until they get older? Halahein ta'agana lebilte ayes leish. Are you going to hold yourself back, not to get married to anyone else and wait for them?" So the word ta'agana and that pasuk means to hold back, and therefore that's the anchors that hold back the boat from going away from the shore. Manhigin, in the Mishnah it says the word manhigin. What is that? Omer Rab Abba, elu ha-meshaitin shalah. These are the oars that that takes the boat, that guides and directs the boat from one place to another. And this is also what you see in the pasuk. It says alaynim mi bashan asu. They take from the alaynim of Bashan. These are the oak trees from Bashan that are also manhigim. They make these manhigim, which are the oars. Omer Rab Abba, elu ha-meshaitin shalah. These are the oars. Alaynim mi bashan asu meshaitech, which refers to these oars. V'bay seim mehacha, or there's another pasuk. V'yardu mani yisayim kol tevse mashait. They come out from the boat, all those that are holding the mashait, the oars. Okay, so over here in these psukim actually that the Gemara quotes regarding the oars, there's no raya that the word manhigin of the Mishnah means the oars. It's just it brings the lashon of the pasuk where it says mashait. Right.
Manhigin means to conduct.
Yeah, to conduct the boat. But in the lashon of the pasuk, it doesn't say manhigin at all. It just says mashait. But the Gemara is not really trying to bring a source for the taich of the word manhigin. It's just trying to show that these manhigin is necessary for the boat. It's a critical thing that you need for the boat itself. You might think that the oars are different than the mast or the sail that are attached to the boat. The oars, you take the oars with you when you leave the boat. It's not necessarily part of the boat. But nevertheless, these are the manhigin. This is how what guides the boat to where it goes, and therefore it is included in part of the sale. Tana Rabbanan and Abraisi, we learned more things that are included in the sale. Hamoicheres hasfina, when you sell a ship, machares ischala. What's sold with it is also the ramp of the boat. Vesboir amayim, and the pit of water that's in Shabbataycha, that's in the boat. This is, according to the Rashbam, this refers to a pit in the boat that they have the fresh drinking water that they need for the journey. Others say that this is the place where people go, that's a Beis HaKisei on the boat. Rav Nassan says, Amoicheres hasfina. You sold the boat, machares habitzis. Along with the boat is also sold, or the ship, you have a large ship, and there's also these little boats that are used along with it, and so that's also sold. And maybe lifeboats. The Gemara here will explain what these bitzis are used for. Sumcha says, Hamoicheres hasfina, you sell a ship, machares hadugis. Along with it is also sold the little fishing boats, the fishermen's boats. So Rava says, bitzis, hainu dugis, these two things, the bitzis and the dugis are the same thing. There are these little boats, so why are we giving them different names? So the Gemara explains Rav Nassan that referred to it as bitzis, bavla hava. He was in Bavel. So therefore, karele butzis, he refers to it as the butzis or the bitzis, and the reason is, kedamri inchi. People say about the water in Bavel, butziasa de meyashan, that there's the river of Meishan, that when you come to the land, the water is very shallow, so you can't travel with a large ship and anchor right at the port. So the only way they can come off of the big ship is they have to have these beit sasam, these small boats, and from there they would come to the port. So therefore, that was the Seder in Bavel. But Sumchis, the Eretz Yisrael, Sumchis, which was from Eretz Yisrael, Karile Dugis, he referred to these little boats as Dugis because they didn't need these little boats to be used to get to the port. They were able to come with a large ship straight to the port because in Eretz Yisrael, the water is deep enough right at the port to be able to come in with a large ship. Why did they call it Dugis? They use these as fishermen boats. That's what they use these small boats for. Like it says in the pasuk, your end will be that you will be taken away in these little fishermen boats. So it depends what it was used for. Bavel and Eretz Yisrael, that's the difference in the name. Okay, here the Gemara begins Agadata. This is known as the Agadata of Rabbi Bar Bachana. The Gemara will bring in connection to speaking about boats that go on the water, different things that he saw in different places of the world. In the Gemara here, you'll see this Agadata is unique and very unusual things that the Gemara describes that he saw in the world, and Marabba Masach Hashem, the Rashbam says, and so on. And this Gemara is brought, the Alter Rebbe brings it in Torah in the end of Parshas Tell this as an example for this, that in the Agadata you have the Seidus HaTorah. When you see over here, this such a kind of Gemara, and you see it Kipshuta, and it's not understood what the Gemara is talking about. It is Seidus HaTorah in these words of the Gemara. This is sort of the ultimate Agadata in that sense, that the Alter Rebbe brings it as an example where you see the Seidus HaTorah in the Gemara. And there are different pirushim. Even in the Marsha here, there's a big arichis and another Maral and so on that explain details of what the Gemara really means. I'll try to say a little bit of the taich of what they say about this Gemara. Omar Rabba said, "Ishtoyli nuchuse yama." The people that travel over the seas shared with me and said to me as follows: that Hai Gala, the mitbal svina, this wave that comes and tries to sink a boat. Mischazi kitzutzisa de nura chavarta bereisha. At the tip of it, you see like a white flame the white flame of a fire. Umachinale ba'alvasa, and in order to bang down to get rid of this wave that can sink the boat, we have to hit it with these clubs. The chokek, and on this club, it's engraved in it the names of the Eibishter: Eka, Shereke, Ko, Havaya, Tzvois, Omen, Omen, Sela. And when you hit it with this club that it has this inscribed in it, V'nayich, then these waves will go down. Omar Rabbe said, Ishtoyli nuchuse yama. Those that travel over the seas shared with me and said, Ben galo le galo. The distance between one wave and another is tlas meye parsi, is 300 parsa, which is quite far. And Veruma de gala, the height of these waves is also tlas meye parsa, is 300 parsa tall. One time, Rabbi says, I was going on the way on a ship, Vedalinon Gala, and this wave lifted me up to this height of 300 parsa. I was so high, the Chazina Bay Marbase, the Koich Vezute. I saw the resting place of this small star, and Vahavile Kimivzar Arboin Grivi Bizarre Dachardala. And it looked to me like the size of an area where you spread out the mustard seeds, to plant the mustard seeds. That's how the star appeared to me. If this wave would have lifted me up a little higher, I would have been burnt from the heat of this star. And I also heard that Veramile Gala Kala Lachaverta, that one wave raised its voice and said to the other wave that was 300 parsa away, that he says to him, Chavirasi, my friend, speaking to the other wave, Shafkis Midi Baalme, did you leave anything over in the world, that you did not yet completely flood it? The Nasi and that I should come, Venevde, and I will destroy it. In other words, when one wave sees the other wave that's so high, so he says that you're such a tall wave when you're going to flood the entire world. So he's asking him, did you leave anything for me to flood the world? Amalei, so that wave answers him, I can't flood the world. Go and see the might, the strength of your master, the Eibishter. Even just a little tiny strip of a needle or like a chut of sand, I can't pass that sand where I belong. Meaning that the sea, the water that there is in the sea has to remain where it is, and it can't pass through the edge of where there is just a little bit of sand. The Eibusha doesn't allow me to pass through that to flood the world. Shenema, the pasuk says, "Ha'isi lo tiro num Hashem." Do you not fear me? The Eibusha says, I placed the sand to be the border for the Yam. This is a law, a border forever, and no one can pass through it. So the Eibusha, as great and as powerful as the waves are, but when it comes to the Chayil Yam, by the sand, it can't pass through. So the Mefarshim here say, maybe it's in the Mashar, remember where I saw this, that what the Gemara is referring to over here is the Yam is the ocean of the Goyim, the Golos that wants to come and flood the Yidden that are, whether it's on the boat that it says before to come and to sink a boat, and the Yidden are on the boat in the time of Golos. The boat is a place where Yidden are safe and secure when they fulfill Torah mitzvahs, or the Yidden are on the dry land fulfilling Torah mitzvahs, and the Goyim constantly seek to come and drown the Yidden in this. And one wave tries, and it doesn't succeed, and then one wave is speaking to the other wave, is then another generation of Goyim coming and speaking to the generation before and saying that, did you leave anything for me to come and wipe out the Yidden? And the answer is that you can try as much as you want, but the Eibishter is the one that's protecting Yidden, and no one will be able to sink the Yidden. That's the mashal of the Gemara. Amar Rabbe said, Lididi Chazili Hormin Barlilis. I saw Hormin, or the Rashbam here actually says, another gear says Hormiz. This refers to a Shindalet. That's his name was Hormiz Barlilis. I saw him, Kikorot Akufya Deshura de Mechuzah. I saw him running on top of the walls of the city of Mechuzah. And how fast was he able to run? Virot Parsha Kirochiv Chevasa Mitatoi. And there was a horseman that was riding below on this wall in that same place. And this horseman was not able to ride as fast as this Shindalet was going on top of the wall. Once I saw this Shindalet, that there were two mules that were saddled that he was riding on at the same time. And where were these two mules that he was riding on at the same time? The Kaiman Atre Gishri de Reignag. These two mules were on two different bridges crossing over the river of Reignag. And Vishavara Mahai Lahai. And this Shindalet was jumping from one mule on one bridge to another mule on the other, jumping back and forth. And while he was doing this, V'nokat Trei the Bacheratz Kosi the Chamre Biyadeh. He had two cups of wine in his hands. And Umayrik Mahai Lahai, and he was pouring the wine from one to another while he was jumping from one mule to the other. Umahai Lahai, jumping from one to the other. V'loy Notvan the Tifusala Ara. And there was nothing that dripped from what he was pouring from one cup to the other. Nothing dripped down on the ground. And on that day when this was happening, Yalu Shamayim Yerde Taimesave, like Lashon of the Pasuk that goes up, that the waves go up to the heaven, goes down to the Taim. It was a very stormy day. And even though it was a very stormy day, nevertheless, there was nothing that spilled from the cups of this Shindalet. Until it was heard, what this Shindal was doing was heard by the Malchus, the Katlu, and he was killed. So the Rashbam says that the simple pshat of the Malchus here refers to the Melech of the Shadim, and he killed him because he was revealing himself to people, and Shindal is not supposed to reveal himself to people. But the Rashbam says another pshat is the Omar that this refers to the Caesar at that time that was afraid of this Shindala that he's going to take away his kingdom, and he killed him. Omar Rabbe said further that all these times over here in the Gemara it says Rabbe, somewhere good is Rabbe Bar Bachana. We'll see in the continuation of the Gemara it's all Rabbe Bar Bachana. Omar Rabbe Lididi Chazili Orzila Bar Yaime. I saw an Orzila, which is a re'aim, a very, very large animal that was just 1 day old. The Haveka Har Tover, and that he was as large as the mountain of Har Tover. The Har Tover, how large is Har Tover? Kama Hava, Arba Parsi. It's 4 parsa. That's how massive this mountain is, and that's how massive this animal was. Umashcha de Tzavore, and the length of its neck was Tlasa Parsi, was 3 parsa. Ubemarbata de Reishe, and the size of the place where he puts down his head was Parsa Palga, a parsa and a half. Rama Kufse v'sachal Yardana, and when this re'aim relieves itself, so then it's so much that it clogs up the entire Yarden. Rabbi Bar Bachana said, "L'didi chazile ahi akruksa." I saw this frog, the Havyeki Akra the Hagrunya, that was as large as this city called Agrunya. The Akra da Agrunya, how large was this city Akra da Agrunya? Kama Havya Shitten Bati. It's 60 houses. Osa Tanina, and I saw a snake came, Bala, and it swallowed this frog. Osa Pushkansa, and then a female raven came, Ubala Latanina, and swallowed this snake that swallowed this frog. And then this raven went, Vesalik Yosef Be'ilana, and it went and sat on a branch of a tree. So the Gemara says, so if this is the kind of tree that it sits on, see how strong this branch of the tree is. It's such a massive raven is able to sit on it. Rav Papa Bashmul said about this, if I wasn't there and saw it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe this. So here as well, the Mefarshim say that this frog, there's a medrash that says that a frog is a creature that doesn't rest day and night. It refers to the Talmid Chachamim that don't rest day and night. And the snake that's swallowing it is the Yetzer Hara, the Satan that tries to swallow and tries to disturb a Talmid Chacham that's learning Torah. And then the raven swallows the snake, and then he goes up high and sits on a branch of a tree that refers to the fact that the Eibishter saves this Talmid Chacham, that he could sit on the branch of a tree. That's it's a mashal for a Talmid Chacham and the snake that's trying to stop him from learning. Rabbi Bar Bachana said, I was once traveling on a boat, I saw this fish, the Yasvale Achlatina Bosye, that a little sheretz, a little crawling creature, went into its nose. So this was a massive, massive fish, as we'll see here. But this little creature went into its nose, and what happened was the Bacher adds ubmis, and it caused it to die. So Batcho Maya, this dead massive fish, so the water pushed it out. V'shadyua leguda, and it pushed it out onto the edges outside of on the shore. And what happened? The fish was so huge. V'charev b'nei shitten mechuzeh. 60 different neighborhoods cities were destroyed by this fish that was now on the dry land. But then v'achol minei, there was so much of this fish that v'achol b'nei shitten mechuzeh. People from another 60 cities were able to eat from this fish. And also umolchemine shitten mechuzeh, and for another 60 cities, they were able to take from this fish and put away and salt it to eat later.
Sounds like a Leviosan. Sounds like a Leviosan.
Yeah. Umalu mechad galgale de eine. They were able to fill up just from one of the eyeballs of this fish. Tlas meye garbi mishche, 300 barrels of oil. And then v'chihadron lebasa tresi yarchishati, when they came back to see what's going on with this fish after 12 months, Chazinon, they saw Davakamansiri Migarme Metalalta, that they're taking from the bones of the fish and they're building tents, or they're building huts. V'yasvi, and they're living there. V'yasvi, they're returning Lemivnino Hanach Machuzi, and they're returning to rebuild those cities that were destroyed by this fish when it was on the dry land. So the Mashaya says about this Gemara that the Rebbe's of this Gemara, the dag here refers to Haman and the Yidden. Haman tries to destroy all the Yidden, but you can't destroy the Yidden. And Adarabah, the Yidden are the ones that are saved, and they go on the dry land, and then you get the fish. You get the you're able to eat from the fish. That's a remez on the story of Purim. I believe that's what the Marsha says. Rabbi Bachana says, Zimnin Chada have kazlina besfinte. I was once traveling on a boat, and I saw this fish, the Yasvele Chalsa Gabe. There was sand that gathered on top of this massive fish. And it slowly developed this little area, like an island on top of this fish. And we thought that this is a dry land, it's an island. So we went onto this island. It seemed like an island, and we were living there. We were cooking there and baking there. And the fish felt the heat from what we were doing there. The fish turned over, and we were turned over. We fell to the water. If not that we were close to a boat, tavino, we would have drowned. Okay, the remez of this Gemara is referring to the water of Galus, that a person is in a Galus, and sometimes you didn't forget that they're in Galus, and you start becoming comfortable in Galus, and you start cooking and baking and living in Galus. But then the Eibishter brings this kind of thing in Galus. He turns over, the fish turns over in Galus, and you start realizing that this is not the place where you belong. A Yid doesn't belong in Galus. And if not for the boat, which is the safety of a Yid, the Torah and mitzvahs, we don't have any way to save ourselves in this time of Galus. I was once traveling on a boat, and the boat was traveling, and out here he describes how massive a fish that they encountered was. That this boat was traveling, and the fish that was there, and the boat was traveling near it, between one shitze and another, which was between one fin and another fin, the kavra of this fish. It took the boat to travel 3 days and 3 nights to get just from one part of the body of the fish to the length of, and to the other part of the body of the fish, one fin to the other. And here it explains how fast the boat was traveling and what position the fish was and what direction the fish was going. The fish was going against the wave. Vanan b'shipula, and the boat was going the other direction, the opposite direction, along with the wave. So even though the fish was going one way and the boat was going the opposite way, so you're moving quicker over here to get to from one part of the body of the fish to the other. But nevertheless, it took 3 days. Now, if you would think the boat was moving very slowly, no, it wasn't. Ravdimi came, he said, like the amount of time that it takes to heat up a kettle of water, mazgi shita parsa. The boat is going so fast, in that short period of time, it traveled 60 parsa. And another thing about how fast this boat was traveling, vishadi parsha gira, if a horseman throws an arrow, v'kodmale, the boat that is traveling quicker than this arrow. And even though the boat was traveling so fast, and the fish was swimming in the opposite direction, but it took 3 days and 3 nights to move from one fin to another. Ravashi said, Hahu gildene de yamavoy, and that fish that they encountered was this gildene of the yam, which is even not even the largest fish. It's a smaller fish. This letreishetze, and it has 2 fins. The other fish that there are, there's larger fishes that has only 1 fin. So this description of this massive fish is only a small fish. Rabbi Bachana said, once I was traveling in a boat, I saw this bird, the koim at kartzule b'maya, that it was in the water, and the water was only up to its ankles. And the head of this bird was all the way up into the sky. And we said, lekemaya. There's not the water here. There's not so much water. It's not so deep here. We wanna, if we wanna cool ourselves off, this is a place that we can go into to cool ourselves off here. The Nafik Baskal of Amirlan, and a Baskal came out and said, Loi tuchusu, do not go into this water. It's not shallow. Do not go in here. The Naflis lechatzitza lebarnagra ha shef shani. There's a chatzitza, which is an axe from a carpenter that fell into this place 7 years ago, and it didn't yet reach to the bottom of this sea in this place. And the Gemara says it's not only because of the depth of the place, it's not only because of how deep it was also very deep, but it was also it's because the water here is very, very tumultuous waters in this area, so therefore the axe didn't reach the bottom. So therefore the Baskal is warning not to enter into this water, it's a dangerous place. Okay, so this over here, this also refers to the waters of the Golus. I think the Farshim say, similar to before, the waters of the Golus, that the person has to be very careful of the danger of these waters. Amar Rav Ashi said, Hahu Ziz Sadehu. That bird that they saw, the name of this bird is Ziz Sadai. The Chsiv, as the Pasuk says, Ziz Sadai Imadi. I was once traveling in the desert. I saw these geese, the Shamti Gatfayu, that its feathers they're pulling out, or the feathers are falling out, Mishamnai, because of their fat, because of how fat they were. The Kanogdi Nachalayu de Mishche Mitusayu, and there's a river of fats that is below them from how fat these geese are. Aminalahu, when I said to them, Islam begavayu begavaycho cholke or chelke la almadasi, do we have a portion in these geese in Olam Haba? So Chada, one of these geese, Dali Gatfa, lifted up its feather to make a sign that you'll have from the fatness that's here under my feathers. And V'chadu Dali Atman, the other one lifted up its feet or its legs to make a sign that you'll have a chelik in this in Olam Haba. Ki asle kamed Rabbi Lazar, when they came to Rabbi Lazar, Amali, he said, Asidin Yisrael litn alein asadin, that the Yidden are going to be punished for this, that the Yidden are not doing enough to bring Mashiach, to bring the time when Yidden are able to use and take from these geese. And meanwhile, the geese and all the fatness of it is just sort of going to waste. I think I remember now that in Mefarshim it says, regarding the story before, regarding these very deep waters, that the Baskal is warning not to enter into these deep waters, that over here, the deep waters is actually a remez to the Seydus HaTorah, that a person should be very careful when he enters into these deep waters of Seydus HaTorah, because you can learn it and not understand what's going on and make a mistake in the pshat. And similar over here, obviously, when we're talking over here about the geese and the Tanaim are asking, do we have this in Olam Haba? It's referring to the very deep levels of revelations that will be in Olam Haba, and that's what it's saying, that Mashiach comes, will have all these great revelations, and the Yidden today have to do whatever it's possible to bring about the coming of Mashiach, that we should be zeiche to these great revelations that are hinted in the fats of these geese that he saw here in the desert.